Hello everyone, it's your girl Asia from Rant channel. Welcome back to my channel. So boom, I wanted to get on here today and do some Degrassi videos today. I have 3 Degrassi videos that I do want to talk about. I want to talk about the Manny, Ashley, and Craig love triangle and why I really like the love triangle, and talk about a couple of issues that I have with it, and that's it. I want to talk about why I feel like the Drew, Eli, and Claire love triangle was really fucking unnecessary. I never really talked about the love triangle aspect of it. I always just talked about the pregnancy storyline. So I'm going to talk about the love triangle, and I'm going to have to mention the pregnancy storyline as well, but I'm really going to just talk about the love triangle aspect of it and why I feel like the Eli, Drew, Claire thing was just really like icky, sticky, gooey, just but there is a video for a love triangle that I do want to talk about for Degrassi, because that's what I've been thinking. I just want to talk about some Degrassi love triangles. I made a Degrassi video on how I feel like they should have made Miles, Maya, and Tristan into a love triangle. So if y'all haven't watched that, please check it out. I don't know if I made a video on why I feel like they should have made a Sean, Emma, and Ellie love triangle. I'm not sure. I'll check on my channel today and see if I did. If I didn't, if you guys want me to talk about why I feel like that should have been a love triangle, I would love to make something like that. But for today's video, I want to talk about a love triangle that I feel like Degrassi really fumbled, really bad. Especially after I'm like really fresh off watching season 11, like when I made my season 11 retrospective and analyzing the season. I'm not even sure I even mentioned this for being one of the reasons why this season is kind of like not meh, but like how they abandoned some of their storylines, I guess, as I would say. So one of the main love triangles in the show that I feel like Degrassi really fumbled, like the writers, is the Drew, Bianca, and Katie love triangle from season 11. I mean, yeah, you can call it a love triangle all you want. Me personally, I call it Katie being in the middle of Drew and Bianca. Why do I call it that? Is because I feel like in the mid-season finale and Dead and Gone, I feel like once Drew found out about Bianca's situation, about, her being abused, I think he felt bad because he didn't think that when she said that she would help Vince, that would involve her getting hurt. I don't think he thought it would have gone that far. And I think, once he conquered his fear of no longer being scared of Vince, I think, he asked Vince respectfully, like, leave Bianca alone. She's no longer going to be slaying drugs for you or going to be in your fake relationship with you. You feel me? She did her part. She did what she had to do, but she doesn't need to protect me anymore because I can protect myself. You feel me? Well, honestly, the only reason why Bianca even did what she was doing with Vince was to keep Drew safe, because he took the hit for her for Anson. Lada said that he, in a matter of self-defense, that he hit him over the head with a rock, even though it was Bianca. And I don't know how the police system works in Canada. I mean, if they would have just branded the rock for DNA, they simply would have known that her handprints were all over it. So that's that. So I get why Bianca felt like she had to do that for Drew, because like she pretty much explained, Drew was really like the only good thing she's ever had in her life, and she could not live with herself if something bad happened to him because of the messiness of her life. One of the main things that I feel like when it comes to the whole game storyline of season 11, I didn't like how in the other episode when Bianca, the episode in season 11 where Bianca and Drew broke up, that he blamed her for why his life is kind of like messed up right now. I feel like at the end of the day, Drew, he did the right thing. This is probably the only time I felt like Drew was really a jerk to me, because I just felt like it was just out of character for him to say something like this. Like when he went to Dave and said that, oh, it's Bianca's fault, like she brought all this messiness into my life and I don't need it. And Dave said, what's her fault? That her slime bag ex or whoever this man was to her tried to rape her and you came and saved her. That's not her fault. I didn't like that the writers was like blaming Drew, like, oh, like if she was not getting raped that night, she never would have had to hit that nigga over his head. That dude Anson was a weirdo. He was pretty much stalking Bianca, like, you feel me? And he just kept following her around the whole night. I don't blame Bianca for being in a situation where she almost was sexually assaulted. Drew came and helped her, and she did what the fuck she had to do. She hit the nigga over the head with a rock. As far as I'm concerned, that is self-defense. Because nigga was getting all cuckoo machu and getting all crazy. The fuck? I just felt bad for Bianca that, you know, she slept with Vince for him to back off of Drew. She didn't tell Drew what she did for him to leave him alone until he got beat up, and the dudes that worked with Vince said that, oh, your girlfriend needs to know that just putting out don't mean to make the situation go away. And that's how you knew that she slept with Vince. I didn't like that after she pretty much did what she did and she thought they could go back to being normal, they broke up with her. I really felt bad for Bianca because I feel like in that moment you could really see how much she actually loves Drew. You feel me? That he really is like the best thing she's ever had in her life. And like I've always said, when it came to Degrassi, I actually liked that it was different from once. Instead of the classic bad boy thing, the bad boy who has a troubling life meets a really good girl. I like that it was different. I like that it was a guy who had like this good life with good parents and a stable home, and Bianca was like, you know, troubled, you know, rebellious, you know, she was in and out of juvie, you know, she's on parole. Her aunt is very neglectful. They don't really tell you too much about Bianca's parents on whether they gave her away because she was in too much trouble or they might have died and her aunt just had to take care of her. Like, they never really tell you too much about why Bianca is living with her aunt. Like, why is her aunt her guardian? Why isn't she with her parents? Would I have liked that they would have done that? Yeah, sure. Like, I feel like in the newer seasons of Degrassi, I do wish they would explore more of the kids' home life, especially when it was like the main characters. They could have done more when it came to their home life, like they did in the earlier seasons. But I guess it is what it is. Back to the Love Triangle, though. I definitely feel like when it comes to the Drew, Bianca, and Katie Love Triangle, I definitely feel like they fumbled it. Why? Because when I watched season 11, Drew's PTSD storyline and Bianca's gang storyline were really pushed to a C plot, and that really, really fucking bothered me when I watched season 11. They could have done more with Drew's PTSD storyline. Like, the episodes that he came back and you, like, saw him, like, just having traumatic episodes, instead of putting him in a relationship with Katie and having Katie and Marisol go back and forth on who deserves to be with him more, cause based off who likes him the longest, I thought that was absurd. I don't care for Katie and I don't care for Marisol as a character. Marisol, how can you even say that you're all about Drew when you was just fucking on his friend? You was just fucking with KC. When have you ever been all about Drew? And then Katie, I feel like with the situation, both Katie and Marisol is wrong. I understand where Marisol is coming from. Like, you know, Katie knew Marisol liked it, Drew, since season 10, right? That's her crush. But at the same time, I feel like you don't own anyone. I do feel like there should be some type of line that you should not cross. But today, Marisol, just because you have a crush on someone don't mean you own them. And I feel like she could not take a hint. You feel me? Because Drew already went out with her and he had already said that he wasn't really feeling her like that. So it's really Marisol who's trying to push it. I feel like people sometimes, especially when people don't like you back, I feel like sometimes it really shouldn't have to take them to say anything. I feel like you should be able to read the room, I guess I should say. You should be able to read the room because it's really not that hard to know when someone's really not into you. I do understand where Marisol is coming from. Like, it's like, Katie, you know I've liked Drew for the longest, and yet you're going after my crush. But I think Marisol was even more wrong for trying to bring up Katie's eating disorder to one. That would be one of the reasons why Drew would not be able to deal with her, because she has eating disorder and she's constantly burying herself into schoolwork that they'll never really be able to have much of a relationship because she doesn't really know how to prioritize one. I feel like what Katie and Marisol, when I watched the episode season 11, and I know this is a completely side rant, but I'm going to get to this love triangle. Don't worry, bear with me. I feel like they both are jealous of each other, and what I mean by that is this: I think Marisol hated that Katie can achieve anything damn near academically. Like, if it's something school-wise, she's going to put her whole A into it, and she's going to fucking succeed. I think Marisol did not like that her best friend was academically more smarter than her, and because of that, she find that of a challenge. And I think Katie did not like that Marisol was more sexually experienced, more popular, more looked at as, I guess you could say, the male gaze, that all the guys want her, nobody wants Katie, she's a geeky girl, she's a nerdy girl, you know, she's all about her schoolwork, she don't know how to have fun, blah, 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 blah. Like, I feel like they, in the episode, they tried to make it all about Drew, like, oh, this and this and that, but I feel like it was really deeper. Like, when I looked at it, like, when I, like, watched the episode, when I was rewatching season 11, I feel like it was just something deeper, because I feel like, at the end of the day, girls can be petty, they can be catty, but I feel like at the end of the day, Marisol was really wrong for trying to, you know, basically saying, oh, Katie has the eating disorder, and I don't think Drew wants to deal with someone who feel like they gotta throw up every fucking second. Like, I just think that was just crossing the line. Like, it's like, I get that you're mad, but why are you bringing up something personal for me? That just wasn't cool to me. And I feel like, again, with Drew's PTSD story, like I said, the writers in season 11 definitely pushed Drew and Bianca's storylines to a C plot, and I never realized that before as much as I've rewatched the fucking show. But when I said I'm going to rewatch season 11 so I can actually give my thoughts on why I have more like a hate-love relationship with this season, Drew and Bianca's characters in this season are really one of the main two reasons, because I feel like Drew should have been the leading role as far as the boys, and I feel like Bianca should have been the leading woman as far as the girls. Instead, what they do in season 11? In season 11, they made Eli and Claire the leading roles, and I just felt like we just saw them as the leading roles in season 10. Give somebody else a chance to fucking shine. And I feel like Drew and Bianca had the best. Well, it's really a tie between Drew and Bianca's gang storyline and everything with Casey and Jenna. But I feel like since the season started off with Drew and Bianca's storyline, that I thought they were going to be the leading roles for the season. But instead, they automatically got pushed to a C. So like I said, Drew PTSD storyline was something they could have really done more with. Instead, they just put him with Katie. Bianca was barely shown in season 11. She was barely at school. She was barely shown. So you didn't really get to see her perspective or her POV for the drug storyline. You got those part 1 and part 2 episodes of it, and that was it. And then we got to see her in Dead and Gone. Like, she really was fed scraps in season 11. I didn't like that. Like, when the girl on TikTok said that the gang storyline would have probably been better if it was told in her perspective, I agree, because she was getting abused. Like, she was getting, like, domestic violence. No one, like, I feel like Degrassi could have done more. And I feel like in the Dead and Gone finale, I do feel like Drew started loving her again. And then I feel like after that, Katie became more jealous because Bianca was now more around. And I feel like Katie, she's just jealous of everybody. Like, you feel me? Like, Katie just a jealous ass bitch, because I feel like Bianca never did anything that made Katie, like, Bianca never was coming on to Drew whenever him and Katie was in a relationship. So to me, I'm very confused on why she felt like she just had to come at her. I get it, it's the whole ex thing, like, oh, why is your ex here? Why is she around you all the time? But it's like, when Drew and Bianca were exes in season 11, whenever they talked or whatever, it never came off flirtatious, it just came off like a normal conversation. I get it that some people don't like when their exes are talkative, I guess you can say. But at the same time, we do go to the same school, so it's damn near impossible for us to ignore each other. But like I said, Bianca never came on to Drew in a way where she was letting Katie know that that's still her man and she can take him if she wants to. She never did that. So for Katie to think that's what it was given, she's just paranoid and jealous. And what people don't realize is that when your significant other has an ex and they're constantly around, you're giving them too much ammunition. You shouldn't really be worried about what they're doing, because at the end of the day, if whoever you're with falls for that, then they never was really over that person to begin with. You feel me? So then they did the storyline with Katie being addicted to oxycodone. I feel like the Drew and Katie relationship I never really cared for. So when people on TikTok say they were the real end game or that Drew could have had a grown ass relationship but he wants to go back to having childish shit, I'm very confused because I feel like Drew being with Bianca matured him. I think he grew up. I think him and Bianca had a very adult-like relationship, and that's what I really liked about the relationship. She made Drew a better person. They made each other better. They evolved. They grew with each other, and I like that. I feel like Drew and Katie was just temporary until him and Bianca. And like I said, I'm not condoning cheating, but at the end of the day, Drew and Katie's relationship was already growing apart the second she started doing drugs. And I feel like Drew already checked out the relationship the second he said that she broke her knee and he really hasn't been able to be around as much. And I always felt like I felt like with Katie, I wasn't fucking with her when she tried to lie on Bianca and said that she pointed the guy out to give her some drugs. And it's like, girl, you the one who scored oxycodone all by yourself. I told you. You asked me, what does that nigga do? And I told you that he be giving out drugs. So it's like, don't ever try to use me for a reason why you scoring drugs. You feel me? Like, I thought that shit was, like, mad corny. Like, she tried to say, oh, you the one who put him out to me. I thought when Katie did that shit, I thought she was lame as fuck. I never fucked with her after that. And, like, I just feel like the Drew and Bianca relationship was just, like, inevitable. So I felt like with Degrassi, when it comes to this love triangle, I think they could have done more. And what I mean by that is that Bianca should have been more involved in season 11. She should have. If they wanted to make it a love triangle, they should have did something where Bianca confessed her feelings for Drew and he tell her that he's in a relationship. Not necessarily saying he doesn't feel the same way, but just telling her he's in a relationship. And I feel like since that, it should have made things more confusing. I would have had Bianca confess her feelings to Drew before the mid-season finale. And then he tell her that he has a girlfriend, but he still invites her at the table for prom, right? Okay, I would have kept that. And I think afterwards, I would have had Bianca, take back what she said because she doesn't want anything to be weird or awkward between her and Drew. But I would make it be that underlying friction that, Drew can't stop thinking about the love confession that she made, and that deep down he knows that Bianca really will be the only woman, the only girl he could ever truly love. And I just feel like for it to really be a love triangle, I feel like Bianca should have been more involved because I feel like she wasn't involved in season 11. She wasn't. And then it's like, I didn't really care too much for Drew and Katie's relationship. So again, like a love triangle, if the leading role is supposed to have chemistry with this person and that person, as a viewer of the love triangle, I should feel like, okay, well then it's like, I look and can see, it's like with Drew, it should have been like, well, I could see him with Katie and I could see him with Bianca. So it's kind of hard for me to say who I would want him to be with more. But in the love triangle, it didn't even make you feel that way because Drew and Bianca were fucking inevitable. Their chemistry was still there, and I wanted them to be in game, even though sadly that they wasn't. I wanted them to be in game. Drew and Katie was just something for right now. Like, it wasn't temporary. It wasn't going to be long. I never really felt like they had any chemistry. So when Drew told Bianca he loved her and he wanted to be with her at the end of season 11, I was just like, yeah, let's motherfucking do it. Put them back together. And I like that. And this is what I mean when I say that Bianca and him became more mature. You feel me? Bianca just told Drew in Hollaback Girl Part 1 that Katie has a problem, a drug problem. They kissed and he told her that he still loved her, and she said that she felt like if she would be honest, she would tell him to break up with Katie and be with her. They kissed and she asked him, does he only feel this way because of everything going on with Katie? He said no, he never stopped loving her. And I think the next day at school in the part 2 episode, he said that he was thinking about a lot about what they were talking about, and she was like, "Oh, your relationship goes to shit, and I'm your default girl." And he was like, "No, it's not like that at all." He told Bianca he loved her, he wants to be with her. Bianca told him that if they be together this time, she wants things to be different. She doesn't want to keep hiding around. She doesn't want to, sneak around anymore. She wants his mom to know that they are official and that they are dating. And he told her that he promised her things would be different. When Drew finds out that Katie is addicted to oxycodone, he automatically tells Bianca that he loves her, but he doesn't want to be with Katie. And Bianca tells him that she thinks this will be the wrong time for him to break up with Katie because she needs him. And even when for Bianca, I'm going to give her a lot of strength because she's way better than me. Because after Katie just basically tried to blame it on me, that I pointed out to do for drugs, and she's a drug addict, so drug addicts lie. So maybe that's why Bianca didn't take it, to heart. But it's like, that I would not be right there in that moment telling that girl that everything's going to be okay, you got your friends, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like when Bianca said that, oh, you have Drew, he's going to be there for you, and things like that. I really like that because I feel like that just shows the maturity, because I feel like if Drew would have broke up with Katie and got with Bianca, that would not have been showing maturity. But for them to wait for Katie to be in a better place to where she could just take everything in, and him and Bianca, could do their thing, I think that was mature. A lot of people say, oh, but he still cheated. Yes, he kissed Bianca. Yes, he confessed his love for her while he's still with Katie. Yes, yes, yes. And that's why karma came back to bite his ass in season 12. Even though him and Bianca kissed and all that, Bianca told him she didn't want to be that girl who comes on to other guys' boyfriends. It's not who she is anymore. Like I said, if Drew didn't break up with Katie, or whatever the case may be, and him and Bianca just was doing what they were doing behind her back, that wouldn't have shown maturity. So in season 12, I would say I like how they went at things. They waited until Katie was in a better place to be together. You feel me? Like, Drew did break up with Katie, but her constantly crying and all that and all the other shit, it made him feel bad because it's like he wanted to hear her out. And that's one of the main things I always said about Drew's character. He's too fucking nice. Like, once you said what the fuck you said, I don't need to say nothing else. Like, leave me the fuck alone. That's why I say season 12 he got his karma, because when he broke, he should have just told Katie the truth. He should have just told her that when she was on drugs, he knew that he fell back in love with Bianca. He should have just told her that from the beginning. He shouldn't have said nothing until after they had sex. You feel me? He should have told her the beginning from the truth. I will agree with that. He should have told her the truth in season 12. He should have been honest with her and just told her that when you were on drugs, I wanted to be back with Bianca. You feel me? He should have told her that from the beginning. So yes, him and Katie having sex and all that, it confused her to think they were back together. Well, honestly, no. He didn't already broke up with her. He was just trying to hear her out. Like, you feel me? And a lot of people feel like Katie took advantage of Drew. I ain't made a video about how I expressed it. I don't feel like I don't feel like that happened. But I've always said this. Even if it did happen, us being in a time where everyone's not comfortable with a man being a victim, I don't think Degrassi would have capitalized on that. And I dare anybody to prove me wrong. If Degrassi would have really done a storyline with a guy being a sexually assault victim, that would have been a great storyline. But I just don't believe it, because we just live in a world where people are not comfortable with a man being a victim of whatever it might be: domestic violence, sexual assault, child molestation, anything. They're not comfortable because they just don't believe it. You feel me? So that's just how I feel. That's my opinion. And that's why I feel like, karma did get Drew. Bianca found out that he did what he did with Katie. And even though they did get back together because she was so worried about him because he was having concussions, I do feel like at the end of the day, Drew does love Bianca. And I feel like what he did with Katie was something he did when he was drunk and that he didn't remember it. And I do think he felt like a piece of shit for sleeping with her and leading her on when he should have just been honest with her from the truth. And he said that. And I think, like I said, the only reason why he didn't tell her the truth is because he was trying to let her off easy, and he was trying to be nice, which obviously was his fucking downfall. So, that's my thoughts on the whole Drew, Katie, and Bianca love triangle. I feel like Degrassi really fumbled it because A, they didn't really give you the option to really ship anybody else with Drew. Like, they made it very fucking clear that he really only has chemistry with Bianca. Bianca was not really involved in season 11, so it was kind of hard for me to even see it as a love triangle. I saw it as a Drew and Bianca love story, and Katie was just in the middle of it. That's how I saw it. So that's how I feel. As always, it is nice talking to y'all, and I'm going to see y'all in my next video. My next video will be me talking about the icky, sticky messiness of the Drew and Eli and Claire love triangle. So I can't wait to talk about that. And I'm going to say the Manny Craig and Ashley storyline for last. I will catch y'all later. Nice talking to y'all.